Donald Trump has been doing this thing ever since he got sworn in for a second time, where he will sit down at a table, he'll surround himself with a whole bunch of different people and the media, and then he will sign a whole bunch of executive orders so he can make himself feel more like a king. And during one of these recent publicity stunts, I was kind of just reminded of all of the fascistic tendencies that we continue to see with this administration. Because not only was Donald Trump himself popping off at the mouth, but the nostalgia is really a key tenet of the fascism itself, where they, are always hearkening back to the good old days where everything was good and it was great and it was awesome. And Donald Trump weaponizes that nostalgia. And now we have a president of the United States who's trying to bring back all of this coal energy to a modern America, which might be the dumbest thing we could be doing right now. Except here we are, living in the dumbest timeline with the dumbest president. Here he is criticizing Germany for the way that they use energy, while also getting all the facts wrong. If you guys do appreciate my work, please do remember to subscribe.
Germany went green, very green. They went so green they almost went out of business. Germany was finished. They went to wind. The wind wasn't blowing too much. And they went to all sorts of other things. The Green New Scam hit Germany too. And guess what? Now they're back to coal. They're opening up coal plants all over Germany. We're the ones that aren't doing it. I call it beautiful, clean coal. I tell my people never use the word coal unless you put beautiful, clean before
it. So funny, Donnie. You're so funny, dude. Does everybody remember back in 2022, February of 2022, when Russia invaded Ukraine and then the West put a whole bunch of sanctions on Russia? So people in Europe had to reevaluate and reconfigure the way that they did energy because they were no longer getting it from Russia. And maybe Germany had to fire up some old coal mines so they could make sure that they could meet their levels during the winter months. That doesn't mean that Germany has abandoned all of their work towards renewable energy. And in fact, I think between 50 and 60% of their energy comes from renewable sources. And so Donald Trump is just wrong. And he continues to bring this up over and over and over again. Even when you have Germany, people from Germany, officials in Germany coming out and saying, we don't know what you're talking about, dude. You have absolutely no clue as to what is going on over here. Germany is still working towards a cleaner future, just like every country should be, while Donald Trump is again trying to open up new coal factories because all these coal miners, that's all they love to do. They just love to mine coal, as he says here.
And how they were going to teach coal miners how to make widgets and gadgets and technology, which they didn't want to do. They want to mine. One thing I learned about the coal miners, that's what they want to do. You could give them a penthouse on Fifth Avenue and a different kind of a job, and they'd be unhappy. They want to mine coal. That's what they love to do. And she was going to put them in a high-tech industry where you make little cell phones and things. I don't know. Do you think he'd be good at that? I don't know. I would be. You don't want to be. And she was brutal about 3 weeks before, but then she had a problem. She went to West Virginia looking for votes, and that was a bad situation. You remember that? And there was a coal miner around the table with his family, and he was in tears because of what they had done to him and his family. And I hope he's still around, but that man made quite an impression on the world and the public. And we ended up winning in a great election, but we ended up winning by a lot.
Good old Donald Trump, right? Always learning how to bring that story right back to himself. Now, look, we can all agree that the whole learn to code thing was an unforced error, probably shouldn't have happened. But to think that these people wouldn't choose other jobs if they had the opportunity to choose other jobs, I feel is pretty short-sighted. To think that all these people want to do is mine coal because they just love coal and it's the most best thing in the whole wide world. Again, seems a little bit short-sighted. Do you think they like dealing with the black lung? Do you think they like dealing with all of the other health ailments that come along with mining coal for an entire lifetime? I mean, it just overlooks how many of these people aren't exposed to any other opportunities. They're kind of not necessarily forced into working coal, but these are the opportunities that they have when they come of working age, and many of them kind of just pick that up because that's the thing to do in their particular, city or town or whatever it may be. I just don't understand this line of thinking. I think if many of these people were given other opportunities to work in other places for the same pay or more pay, they would definitely take it. And that doesn't mean that these people don't work hard, that there's not dignity in their work. There certainly is. But to think that the only thing that they know and love how to do is to mine coal seems pretty stupid to me. But again, this is what Donald Trump is very, very good at. He will take all of these old things, maybe the things that we're moving away from as a more technological society, as a more advanced society, and then he will point at those things and he will kind of weaponize that nostalgia to garner more support for his movement. This is what Donald Trump has been doing ever since he came onto the political scene in 2015. And now here's where he kind of starts getting into the fascistic parts of the speech, where he's talking about all of the lawyers who have kind of bended the knee to him.
Excellent. Have you noticed that lots of law firms have been signing up with Trump? $100 million, another $100 million for damages that they've done. But they give you $100 million and then they announce that, but we have done nothing wrong. And I agree, they've done nothing wrong. But what the hell? They give me a lot of money considering they've done nothing wrong. And we'll use some of those people, some of those great firms. They are great firms, too. They just had a bad moment. But we're going to use some of those firms to work with you on your leasing and your other things. And they'll do a great job. I think they're going to do a fantastic job.
How do you think these law firms are feeling right about now? These are the law firms that bended the knee to Donald Trump, and now he's kind of wielding them as some sort of prize because they bent the knee to the fascistic leader. I mean, this is just absolutely disgusting. And this is what people were kind of warning about as far as obeying in advance. Donald Trump threatened these law firms, took their security clearances away, which is just so unconstitutional and so just low and authoritarian in every single way. And instead of standing up to Donald Trump, they bent the knee. They offered him up some pro bono services, and now he's trying to use them as a weapon to try to roll our country back to, coal and opening up our national lands, our national parks to logging and all of that stuff. I mean, it's absolutely gross. But again, this is what the Trump administration is going to do. This is what he has been allowed to get away with the entire time. I mean, he had his mob of supporters stormed the Capitol to try to stage a coup against the United States of America, and he was never given any consequences for that. So, of course, he's going to continue to push and push and push and push, and he's going to try to get away with as much as he possibly can. And these law firms just show that nothing is ever going to be good enough. And even if you did bend the knee, he's still going to rub it in your face afterwards, even though he's the authoritarian leader that is taking advantage of his position of power. I mean, it is absolutely disgusting. Here he goes on to say that, when I tell them to do it, they do it.
And it's a beautiful thing to see. I saw a picture of it this morning. The water's just flowing down there. I said, why didn't they do this? I told them to do it. My first term, I said, do it. And I don't know. I think the second term is just more powerful. They do it. When I say do it, they do it, right? And we actually had to do some pretty strong things to get them to open it up. Think of this, they had all that water pouring out right into the Pacific. They had a big valve, like a giant valve as big as this room. And they turned the valve. Takes one day to turn it. And they face it toward the Pacific Ocean, and the water, all that was coming down, all millions and millions of gallons coming down, they put it into the Pacific Ocean, which for the Pacific Ocean is like a drop of water. But for California, it would have been unbelievable. So we did it. I'm very proud of the fact that we did it. We did that against a lot of heat and a lot of environmental nonsense. From now on, we'll ensure that our nation's critically needed.
I mean, this is just absolutely disgusting. We actually did a story about this when it was actually happening. During the wildfires in LA, Donald Trump said he was going to turn on this valve of water, and suddenly that LA was going to be saved and they could put out all the fires. Except Donald Trump directed the Army Corps of Engineers to release water that was being saved for the farmers in the Central Valley, and none of that water even made it down to LA. I mean, this is just more authoritarian nonsense from Donald Trump, and it helps no one. This was also Donald Trump could get a win in the media, saying, oh, look what I made them do. They opened the valve and everybody is saved. I am the strong guy. I am the leader. I am your savior. I mean, it is absolutely pathetic. It's so pathetic. And we're sitting here talking about coal, and Donald Trump is talking about how he's opening the valves so everybody can be saved by all of the water in California. I mean, these people are absolutely disgusting. Here he is signing one of the executive orders talking about ending all of the woke energy policies.
Sir, you've made grid reliability and security a key focus of this administration. This executive order is going to promote grid security and reliability by ensuring, in part, that our grid policies are focused on secure and effective energy production and energy transmission, as opposed to woke policies that discriminate against secure sources of power like coal and other fossil fuels.
These people are dumber than you could imagine. Right now, the cheapest way to make power is through solar panels. It is the cheapest way, the most efficient way for us to create energy. Coal is nearly 3 times that cost, and they view these solar panels, the wind energy, anything that might be considered renewable, well, those must be woke policies that are hurting America, even though they are the most efficient sources of energy right now. Even wind, I believe, is cheaper than coal. But now we have a president of the United States trying to roll us back into the 50s, all because, like I said, he has this nostalgia that he likes to weaponize to garner support for the fascist cult. They then go on to sign another executive order, and listen carefully to what they say here. This is concerning.
Lastly, sir, one of the biggest problems we have in this space is Democrat states, radical leftist states, enacting policies and enacting an agenda that discriminates against coal, against secure sources of energy. Many of these policies are unconstitutional and illegal, and with this executive order, you're going to be instructing your Department of Justice to vigorously pursue and investigate these state policies that we believe are illegal or unconstitutional.
Did you catch it? Did you notice the language, too? Blue states are discriminating against fossil fuels like coal or natural gas. They're discriminating. I mean, what happened to states' rights, folks? What happened to states' rights? And they're going to direct the DOJ to go after these states because they might have solar energy or wind energy or hydro energy. And now you have an administration that is going to direct the DOJ to go after these states because they don't like their energy policy. I mean, could you get more authoritarian than that? And again, what happened to states' rights? Since when do we not allow states to do what they do in their own states? Are they going to go after Texas, where we are producing the most wind energy? Are they going to go after them? Or because they're a red state, they're not considered a woke state, so the wind energy is okay? I mean, this is absolutely pathetic stuff, guys. We have an administration who is always trying to roll us back to the good old days. He's trying to get coal off the ground, even though it has been on the decline over the past several decades. It accounts for 15% or less of our total energy production, while things like solar and wind are going up, renewable sources that are going to protect our environment a little bit more. But because all of these things are viewed as woke, because all of these things are viewed as liberal, Donald Trump has to go on the attack because this second term is Donald Trump's revenge tour, and everybody is in his scopes. So I will leave it there for now, guys. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We're trying to build something here on the left that adequately pushes back against this right-wing media ecosystem that just shovels all of this fascistic shit for Donald Trump every single day. So if you do like what I do here, please do remember to smash that subscribe button. And if you guys want to see how Donald Trump caved on his tariffs yet again for another 90 days, Go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.